As a white woman living in the United States of America, it is not only my privilege, but my feel-good habit, hobby, and vacation option to swoop into a country with which I know nothing about, drop a few boxes of shoes, take a selfie, take some pictures with some children while their aunts, uncles, grandparents, and mom and dad watch me, but, well, by the end of it, be able to claim these little babies as my own. Number one, I can turn on the television or open up the newspaper and always be expected to see somebody of my race or widely represented. I vicariously experience their suffering. I capture it in a small, still frame and, well, feel a little bit more alive with my neoliberal, disconnected, but consumerist way of living. I, the almighty white woman, have been to Africa, and I have nursed her children back to health. Her diseases, they are my diseases. Her babies, oh my Lord, they are my babies. Madonna meets Malawi. Anthropology professor and Christian missionary Robert Priest argues that Christian missions often fail to uphold the basic tenets of Proverbs 19:2, which states it's never good to have zeal without knowledge, nor to be hasty and miss the way. I've spent the last few summers working with the Yupik Eskimo people of Western Alaska, and I've come to realize that their limited opportunity for upward mobility stems not from their own beliefs, but socially ingrained ethnocentrism that normalizes the experience for white people and then silences their own culture. However, every year, thousands of white Christian missionaries go on these trips in the hopes that they can somehow reverse the cycle of poverty and oppression upon these people's lives. As a Christian, I wholeheartedly believe in helping people, and I wholeheartedly believe in mission trips, but I think that far too often these trips serve to reinforce white privilege, rather than actually solve real-world problems. In the prose, Stuff White People Do by Make and Deed, Prose White Privilege, Unpacking That Invisible Backpack by Peggy McIntosh, Poetry, Recognizing White Privilege by Joan Broadfield, and Personal Prose, A Northern Misconception by Emma Foster. A program where spreading the word is not colored by privilege. Eskimos, right? They live in igloos and they survive on a diet solely consisting of frozen moose meat, frozen whale meat, and slightly thawed salmon eggs. They wear these giant parkas made from the fur of woolly mammoths, and they communicate through an intricate system of grunts and whimpers. No, I'm just kidding. None of that's true. Sorry to drop that pile of crap in your ears. It's about learning new stories never told about the way that the Japanese were herded towards encampments in 1942, but the Germans, well, the Germans were not. About how Lincoln ordered indigenous families in Minnesota slaughtered, where the airport now is unheralded. Never mentioned. Number two, I can go into any music store across this God-given nation, find my favorite white music. I can go into any grocery store, find my favorite white goodies, and I can go into any, and I mean any, hairdresser across this God-given planet, and well, they'll know what to do with this. I want you to imagine isolation. I want you to imagine waking up every single morning with a physical hunger that you have no way to fulfill. I want you to imagine being a child that genuinely believes that every mommy and daddy gets so drunk that they forget your name. And I want you to imagine sexual abuse. I want you to imagine sexual abuse and the reality of having zero authorities within a 500-mile radius to help you. Unfortunately, if you're an Alaskan native living in the western part of the state, these are not just things that you imagine, these are realities that you live with day in and day out. In these photographs, children are exploited to make social capital. You know, it is so last year, so came on middle America to think that I can take a vacation. I mean, real liberals wouldn't do that. You know, I can't help but think of that new Sacha Baron Cohen movie. You know the one I'm talking about. He adopts a black baby, and we know that the only reason that he did that was because Madonna and Angelina did it, but there's a part in there where he says, I am really into social issues. Dot 4 is a big one, so what's next? What's dot 5? I mean, your experience in South America becomes just another check on your bucket list. Another line on your resume. Fodder for a fantastic graduate school application. It's easy because I was born into money, and I was born into love, and I was born into resource to think that I could take my quote-unquote blessings through Christ to the people of Western Alaska. You know, as if what I had was what they wanted. It's funny because my whole life I've lived under this umbrella that has insisted that because of the color of my skin, I have the ability to mend the sick and heal the oppressed. And I'm going to be so vulnerable and honest with everybody in this room right now. I believed it. I thought that being white meant being up here. But I've since recognized the flaws in my ideology. Number 3, I can remain completely oblivious to the language and customs of people of color, which make up the world's majority, without feeling any such penalty for this oblivion. These people will never have what I have. They'll never be able to escape from the cycle that they are born into. Birth, abuse, parenthood, birth, abuse, parenthood. I'm not saying that it's impossible, I'm just saying that it's nearly impossible. But then I have to ask myself that same question again. Is what I have really what they want? Is who I am genuinely who they desire to be? Number 4, I can be pretty sure that if I ask to talk to the person in charge, well, I will be talking to somebody of my own color. Assuagement of our dear friend, white guilt. Sometimes I think that this phenomenon is something that we white folk do to feel a little bit better about the white privilege that we're experiencing. It is a visual reminder that though we may not be able to do much about the fact that we like our Nikes and we like them cheap, we can in fact sleep on the only concrete floor in the village for a week. We can drop a few boxes of malaria meds and we can call it even. We can even come back with a souvenir or two that reminds us of all the good deeds that we did while we were there. I have 4 cars. There are millions of people in this world, most of whom I know are not white. Stop it. But I went on a mission trip. Look at how happy I made this malnourished little boy. I want you to imagine that we're on St. Lawrence Island, in the village of Sabunga, about 100 miles off the coast of western Alaska. We're there to share our blessings and our resources with the people that reside there, and we get word while we're working that the governor of Alaska is going to be coming to visit. Mind you, he's never even set foot on this island. And so we see him fly in, and he gets off of his plane, and he greets the village of Sabunga. He communicates. He's not sincere. He's friendly, but he's not genuine. And then, as if it was the sole purpose for him coming, he spots us. 5 white Christian missionaries in the sea of 700 Siberian people, he spots us. And as if it was his purpose the entire time, he makes his way over to us, and he greets us and only us with firm handshakes and a smile as if we are old friends that he is genuinely relieved to see. Number 5, when I'm told about national heritage and civilization, well, I'm proud, because I know that it is people of my color who made it what it is today. It's about doing the seemingly impossible to help deinstitutionalize, deconstruct, and deorganize the organized way that power continues to show up, slaughter, and maim. In destructive schools, dysfunctioning employment practices, methodologies that blame culture and uphold their hierarchy, rewarding it to the top. The well-meaning who work toward outcomes and diversity trainings that do not have their intention to dismantle the institutionalized practice, rather they render their work. Worthless. These people will never have what I have. I don't know if I have the ability to do this, but I speak on behalf of everybody that is not white. They will never have what I have. They will never be spoken to the way that I am spoken to. They will never have opportunity the way that I have opportunity. They will never feel equality the way that I have felt equality day in and day out and will continue to for the rest of my life. I am privileged because of the color of my skin. And that curse that is privilege eats away at a lingering hope that maybe, just maybe, equality might still stand. I am privileged because I am white.